Hey everybody, it's Matt Kern with Super Inspector today, and today's spotlight is with Heather Shimala and her team today. They're in the background. We don't see them, but we do see Heather today. Good morning, Heather. It's great to see you.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
We're doing great. Thank you for being on today. And I really want to dive into a lot of good information that is leading to what's going on in the market, especially through the summer and through the COVID, and then
Okay.
what we're looking at towards the last quarter of the year. But I'd
Okay.
love to hear a little bit, and if you don't mind sharing some information about you and the team and what y'all been up to.
Well, we've been busy. We did not take any downtime over the last 6 months. It's been really busy over here. We're very fortunate with that over at Shimala Group. We've got myself. We have a marketing girl named Katie. We've got Shelby, who's our right-hand assistant, and then Jess is our buyer's agent. And the four of us have just been really focused on helping our clients, not so much necessarily with buying or selling a house, but helping them with their businesses and just seeing what we can do to kind of help them in this time where everyone's been a little uncertain with what's happening. And the beauty of that is we have been able to also grow our business pretty significantly during this epidemic. So
Where do you place the fear factor at with buyers and sellers right now? Where do you think they're at this time?
ours are pretty level. I mean, we're not really hearing a lot of fear. A lot of our clients are coming from elsewhere right now.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from the San Francisco Bay Area. Jess is from Southern California. So we both kind of naturally are getting people that are coming from those markets. We're also getting a lot of people from the Northeast that are coming down. As well as our local clients that are buying and selling. They're taking advantage of equity they've got in their home, taking it, selling it because they know they can sell it at a premium, and then rolling that into another home for them to purchase. So we've got a really diverse group of clients that we're not hearing fear as being an objective right now. Concern might be a better word.
Yeah, concern. You know what that leads me to is y'all are really ambassadors for people moving from out of state coming into Texas because you've done it before and you walked before them. So not even knowing that you were already walking into people's futures, right? Way back when you did that yourself, and then be able
Yeah.
to say, hey, we can take you by the hand and walk you through this. Don't worry about, we can deal with the concerns that you have because we've all done it before.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And to the point where we kind of we naturally almost become friends with our clients anyway. And so when we've got people that are new in town, we're really good at connecting them within their community. So, you're here from, we just had a couple that moved from the Bay Area, and they moved on a street in a golf course community, and I happen to know two other people that lived on that street. So I connected them, both the husbands golf. Like, it's just one of those things where we really try and take the buyer or seller as a whole and see where we can help them get plugged into a neighborhood that they really are just going to love. And it's more than just buying a house.
It is, right? Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's a whole life change for them, coming into this area, whether they just came here because of the want to or because, of a job, transfer, relocation and that type of thing. But we're in a good place here in the North Texas area. There is so much residential and commercial building going on in this area. I have a lot of ties to commercial people and in the real estate market, and we're just talking about distribution and commercial buildings going up and businesses coming in from out of other places, in other states, and even in the Texas area that they're coming to the DFW area. And as you see from the whole triangle from Fort Worth to Denton to Dallas and everything in between, it's all coming here, and they're building the commercial and residential either above it or behind it.
No, and that's exactly right. And I think one thing to kind of keep in mind too, you talk about commercial, a lot of these companies and the markets that I mentioned are tech companies, and tech companies have really taken a stance on allowing their employees to work from anywhere.
Yeah.
So even before COVID, I think there were 179 companies that moved to Texas over the last year and a half. I think that's going to go even higher. I mean, look, you've got Tesla moving to Austin. I mean, they're leaving these markets in droves to come here. It's kind of the land of opportunity, so to speak. I feel like it's a reverse gold rush from California.
Right. Well, I just read a post the other day that Ariat, you know, the boot manufacturer and jeans and all that, they just purchased a 1 million square foot distribution center in Alliance.
Oh, wow.
So,
we need to get on that, girls. You hear me?
Right. Yeah. So y'all need to look at, let's see, Verizon has purchased out there. Ariat has purchased out there. And I believe one of the, like Mary Kay or one of those companies have purchased distribution out there. So a lot is going on. I have a friend that's in the trucking industry. He works for a major company, you know, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so he gives me updates. It's like, you wouldn't believe all the stuff that's going on. Well, I was doing an event in Haslett, and I came up that way, and I couldn't believe all the new signs that were showing up over there.
I know. I did the same thing not too long ago. And I think that the thing to think about with that is it's not just that one company. Yeah. It's that company and all the companies that support them. So it's got a domino effect. And I personally, I mean, I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing for our economy. And, you know, and people are coming here because they like what we have to offer down here. They're not coming here, I think, to change it. I think they're coming here to enhance it.
Yeah. I just talked to a builder rep salesperson yesterday. He's a good friend of mine up in the Denton area. And the subdivision that he was in was supposed to take 2 years to sell out. He sold out 5 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
And so his boss has told him, he's like, you've sold out of your job right now. And so he's kind of in limbo for a few more weeks until another subdivision starts in the same area that he's in. And he said, it's just unbelievable how many people, it's like, it's the story of you build it, they will come, they're coming, right?
Well, and it's funny you talk about new construction. We've got clients that are coming here, and a lot of them do want new construction. And so we've got a pretty good pulse for the inventory. I was out in Denton County community, it was last month, I guess, and they had 18 spec houses. They were in the process of building, so you couldn't go and build any longer with that builder per se, but you could. They had 18 houses at that point. So keep in mind, this is just 1 month ago, and on average, I think they were selling 5 to 7 houses a month, maybe a year ago. They're down to 8, so they sold double what they normally would in a matter of just weeks. So we're hearing that everywhere, whether you're in, the Denton area, you're in Walsh out on the west side of Fort Worth, you're down, Duncanville, Cedar Hill, that area, or all the way out in Rowlett. We did an open house last month, Jess, in Rowlett. Each day we had 20 families coming through, 20 groups of people coming through. It was insane. So, and that's the same wherever we go. Wherever we go right now, it's the inventory is low, demand is high, which is then driving pricing up. We have to worry about appraisals. That's the only thing that gets a little touchy at this time.
Well, let's go ahead, since we're getting into this. Let's talk about new construction for a little bit, and then let's talk about existing home sales and inventory also. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, okay. Really great.
Okay, so I've got a couple of questions, so I'm going to throw these out there on new construction. And we definitely seeing new construction going up everywhere. We are seeing a lot of companies building apartments right now because housing, is low. It has been low all year, right? I still don't know how people are squeaking out, how you guys are getting these buyers homes with having such low inventory in our North Texas area. But I would like for you to touch on a little bit, because of where y'all have your finger on the pulse, is where are your favorite areas for new construction? Do you want to talk about any of the builders that are doing new construction and what you're seeing? And what do you see as a trend right now with people buying new homes versus existing homes?
Okay, great question. Honestly, it really depends. So you've got almost two different categories of a buyer, and the needs analysis that we do when we sit down and we talk with people, we usually can get a feel for which area they're going to gravitate towards. So if someone wants like all the latest bells and whistles and tech and all of that rolled into one, and budget, if they're looking in that like 3 to 5 price point, people love Pecan Square, like love. And they love working with Perry out there. Highland is out there. Ashton Woods is out there. Toll Brothers has got an affordable price point out there. So people that, normally think of Toll Brothers as $1 million plus house, they can get into a house out there in the mid fours and a really nice house.
And they've started phase 2, I believe now. Also,
yeah,
they've opened
and
it up for phase 2.
It's funny. Jess is over in the background. Jess lives in Harvest out that way,
Yeah.
and it looks like they may be getting ready for even another phase because they've extended their fence line on the other side of the road, and it sure looks like they're going to be doing something else over there. So, and then they're about to open their community center, which people love Harvest. And I think North Lake really did it right out there because North Lake wanted to have like that anchor neighborhood to pull in the homeowners that are going to be going to those businesses that we just talked about out in that Alliance area. Northwest ISD, right behind Pecan Square, they're putting the new stadium in there. I mean, it's going to have that real like sense of community that everybody is really looking for. And it's all going to be encompassed in that one area.
Right. And they're also going to have 3 different schools in that area too, from elementary, middle school, and high school there.
Did you hear Jess? She just said that. You forgot to talk about the elementary and the other school. So, great
minds think alike.
We've got it. So, I mean, that's one area. Another area that we really are seeing kind of a group gravitate towards is Aubrey. Out in Aubrey, the folks that own Highland Homes, they have an area out there, Sandbrook, that they developed, and they brought in 2 other Texas builders. So they brought in Perry and Weekly, and you can get a Highland home out there in the 200s, which is, for people that know Highland's product, that's kind of unheard of. And it goes, and that price point is anything from like mid 2s on up, depending upon what phase you're in and how you're established out there. But that Aubrey area is exploding.
It is. All that crossroads from 380 back to the east and then north all the way up into the Grayson County area. I was doing research on the Aubrey area. I was looking at new construction pricing and where you could get the bang for the buck. And that's another thing I wanted to ask you guys about, was the bang for the buck. But I did notice that Aubrey is a place where you can get a lot for the price that you buy into, right?
Yeah.
So even in the 2s.
And those neighborhoods are really, really nice. Like the one I was just talking about, like they've got cows in there, and they've got like a gorgeous amenity center, and they're actually building a tree house in the middle of the subdivision for the kids to play. It's got like a slide going through it, and it's
Aubrey actually is a place where trees grow, right? Naturally there. They have so many trees around that area.
What's a tree?
Right. But you look at, the Flower Mound, Argyle area, and a lot of that area is a very familiar to the Aubrey area. The landscaping, the environment, the sand, the dirt, that type of, is very familiar with that up there in the Aubrey area too. But there's a lot of natural oak in the area the same way in that southern area too, around Flower Mound and Argyle. And so people really like that, because they don't want just open fields, in some places that we see in a lot of places in Texas, it's just flat. Right? There's no trees. You have to bring trees in, to that area. And people appreciate a country atmosphere landscape.
Yeah. You talk about trends too. Another trend we're seeing are a lot of people looking for golf course communities. So, you've got the PGA coming at the north end of the toll road on that Prosper area. Perry's got a great product out there. My friend Taylor is out there, and she's got an awesome product that is right in the heart of it all.
Yeah, and
So
McKinney's got a really nice area too with Perry Homes. I have some friends that sell out there too, and that's a really pretty area out there too. And then when you go up between McKinney, Melissa, Anna, all that area over there too, it's just all growing, and they're building a lot of homes in that area. I think Melissa's going to have like 3,000 homes going in pretty soon. I think they already started.
the funny thing is, the only negative we hear about Melissa is there's no grocery store near. Like, we
No.
actually were out there and we were like, that's a really good point.
But do you remember though, Heather, the way Prosper was for so long, right?
I remember
You had to
Frisco
go to Colinas, to get groceries.
I remember Frisco. Like, I remember I used to work in new construction. I worked for Drees back when I first got in real estate.
Yeah.
And I was so mad that they made me go to Frisco. I'm like, I don't want to go to the boonies and work. There's nothing out here. There was just that liquor store on 121. That was it. And so, so.
Yeah, that and the hot tub place. That was it.
What do I know, right?
Yeah, and look what it's done since then. I can remember back in the early 90s, like between 89 to 92, when the first builders were showing up, a father and son that were from Kentucky had moved out to Frisco and started building out there. I don't remember their name of who that was, but there was nothing out there, right? Mm-hmm. There was maybe a couple of little cafe restaurants and flashing light, at the intersection.
Oh, yeah, there was definitely no Sam Rayburn. That was like a distant wish at that point. So, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about bang for the buck for a second. What are you seeing on average that people are still looking for in finding? Is it going to be the 300s and up? Can we still find a nice $250,000, $275,000 home that's not cookie cutter?
So it's funny, when Jess and I were talking about this, we had a client that was looking kind of in that price, that 250 to 300 range. You just have to be willing to go out a little further. So like we ended up with them out in Aubrey. At new construction, they were able to pick their color selections and all of that. So to answer the question, yes, if you're willing to drive. Mm-hmm. Are you going to find that in Flower Mound? Probably not. Are you going to find it in Dallas? No way. Frisco? No. But if you're willing to go out a little bit, yeah, it can be found.
Well, people that are working from home, it doesn't matter anymore. If you could work from home and still be able to make your income that you were going to driving into the city, I heard a gentleman speak last year about people who were moving into the Dallas proper area zip codes from out of state because they wanted to be in that area. Their office was close by, and that agent should keep an eyeball on them because as they help them move in, they're only going to stay in that proper area for 1 to 2 years and maybe 3 because they're going to move out and go further out because it's so expensive to live in that area, tax base, groceries, all that other thing, just the living expenses. But they can find a better bang for the buck out into the country area and still be able to drive in. And now probably more than 50% of them can work from home. So,
well, and it's schools too. Schools become important. People will move. When you're a young couple and you don't have any kids, where you live isn't really all that important. Well, then if you bring your family into the mix, and then your baby now is going into kindergarten, your priorities change, and so those people are shifting also based upon that. And if they can work from wherever, then it's kind of an open market almost.
But as we see in the building of residential and commercial over the last 5 years. And I'm just thinking of places around Irving, Coppell, those areas like that, is we see that they have built the landscape for millennials, meaning that there is commercial, eateries, bars, that type of stuff with residential on top.
Yeah, that
makes you have this whole community built in where you can walk to work, you can work from home, you can walk to eat, get your groceries, and not have to leave a 2-mile area.
Yeah, and there's definitely a group of buyers that love that. Like, I mean, that, they can walk their dog, they can do this, or can do that. I mean, go, like you said, go downstairs and get a cup of coffee at the coffee shop, walk around the corner, pick up your dry cleaning, come back home, and then, hop on a Zoom call and you're working. There's definitely a buyer pool for that. Our buyers, I think real estate groups tend to have buyers that are like-minded. So most of our buyers aren't really in that market. So we don't do a lot in that, but I'm with you though. I see the trends, I see everything being built, and I see how fast they're selling out. So maybe we should start marketing them, because in, a year to two, they're going to want to move out of there and
Right.
go out to the suburbs a little bit more. But you're right though. I mean, even like you said, in the middle of, look at the evolution of Las Colinas.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of desolate there for a few years. Now it's booming again.
Yep. Yep. I actually, back in my younger days, I worked for an automotive company, and one of the guys that worked with me there, his dad had a company that installed all the cubicles in all of those buildings in Las Colinas when they first came up. So
Yeah.
he talked us into working nights with him. So we would go to work at 10 o'clock at night, work till 2 or 3 in the morning, come home, sleep, go to our regular job. But we installed all those cubicles in those high rises in Las Colinas. And it was just, back then it was like, wow, this is, it's this little community all by itself. And then really for 20 years, really nothing happened in that area. It was kind of quiet. And now it's, a booming area.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it though. I think it needed that. I mean, it's such a center part of the Metroplex. So it kind of makes sense that it did that. And it's nice to see it. I mean, there's some fabulous restaurants over there now.
Oh, I love that area over there.
We're big foodies, so we like going out and trying all the new places around DFW. So
yes, for sure. Yeah, we definitely have that in common about the foods areas and where we go. I'm a food snob for sure on that. Yeah, especially barbecue too on that.
Well, what's your favorite barbecue?
Well, I would state that Hutchins and McKinney is in my top 5, right? Yeah. So me and my buddy feel like if we don't even want to go back, you're not even in our 20%, of restaurants to go to. And then if I eat there and I want to go back the next day, you're in my top 10%.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you do the beef ribs there?
Beef ribs, yeah.
They're good.
Even on the weekends, they only serve their stuffed jalapenos on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and just those alone are almost a meal in themselves, there too.
Try that.
Plus, they provide free banana pudding or peach cobbler.
And that banana pudding is like,
it is. It's
life-changing.
It's a grandma's recipe. Yeah, it's life-changing.
Jess needs to take her husband. He loves banana anything. He loves banana anything. Even banana rum. Did you know banana rum was a thing?
What?
Right here.
That's awesome. Well, we could talk about food we
went sideways on this. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, on there too. Okay, so let's transition to existing homes.
Okay.
And let's talk about inventory for a second. Inventory, now we look at stats all the time because we get that from our board offices and things like that in between the greater Louisville and greater Denton areas and that. And inventory's been really low across the board for a long period of time. I mean, low. But still, something happens. I mean, I work in the inspection industry, and we cover all of the North Texas and San Antonio and Austin area. And we see a lot of the things as similar, and it comes and goes in waves and things like that. But we've seen such a low inventory with existing homes for so long, but we still keep cranking out inspections. Y'all keep finding buyers, and you keep finding sellers who want to list, and get them out there. And with that and the number that we see, I can't believe that inventory is so low, because if it would jump back up to, say 3 months of inventory, my goodness, what would the numbers turn into then, right? On that. And maybe it's a good thing. We all thought, yeah, this is not going to be very good for us for the year. This COVID-19, and I hate what it's done, and it's really hurt some people personally that I know with this. But this has been such a impression on us in the real estate market that it's been really strong.
What makes you wonder, had COVID not happened, what it would have done? Like, what would the market have been like if COVID wasn't even in existence? I mean, because people are saying that they're delaying making decisions based upon it I'm not really seeing that, but I have heard kind of like through the rumorville from other, hearing other agents talk. But the inventory, so here the inventory is really low without question. I think what it's doing though is it's making sellers second guess their houses. So we kind of we're always talking to people, but it's like, hey, you've been at home, when we were during like lockdown, it was like, what would you change? Like okay, you haven't left your house in 4 weeks other than to go to the grocery store. What's driving you crazy? Like, if you could do anything different, everyone's like, oh, we need another office, or we need a playroom, or we need a swimming pool, or we need a this. Mm-hmm. If you find that, let us know. And then from there, if we find it and we let them know, that's when they're selling. So giving them what they're asking for is prompting the people that want to sell. And that's, again, then it's like, okay, we've got to find it now. So interestingly enough, we have seen more contingency offers. I've seen them, and depending upon the seller's circumstances, I'm getting them accepted as well. Which for a while there, that was like not even something that anybody talked about. But we've been pretty fortunate with that, where we've been able to use that as a tool to get our person from point A to point B.
And do you see that it's been a reduction because of the kids have moved out, they've gone to school, or they've graduated and moved on, and they're reducing the square footage of their home? Is it?
It might have been a mix of the two. We do have a lot of empty nesters, and so they're like, we don't need 4,000 square feet anymore. Yeah. But you have a buyer who would love that, and it brings demand. So, I mean, that's one set of buyers that we've got. The others have been people that are outgrowing their house. They're like, our house is too small. We've got 4 kids that started out as little guys, and now they're teenagers, and we don't have any room for them anymore, so we need to move based upon that. So it's kind of.
What do you think the average homeowner lives in a home now? I mean, what's the years that they live in a home?
It's so funny you talk about stats. Like, I've seen that stat go from as low as like 5 and as high as 10. So everyone's kind of like, the average is 7. Mm-hmm. I always and Jess has heard me say it 100 times. I always joke with people, like, down here in Texas, you're going to buy a house like you buy a car. We're going to trade it in. You're going to trade up in about 5 years. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of average. I mean, you do have your people who still are thinking like this is their forever house. Mm-hmm. But other people, when we're walking through houses with them, we kind of ask, okay, what are the must-haves? Okay, give us that list. So we make sure we check those boxes off. Then are like, what are the niceties? Like, what are things that would be nice but not, mandatory? And then if we find a lot of the things that they're wanting, but we're missing some things, even the buyers are like, well, in our next house that you help us with, we'll find those things. So they want to get in now, build that equity, and they're already thinking about that next house they're going to buy.
Yeah. So equity plays a big role in this in the last 5 years, is how much improvement in equity that houses are bringing in. And then that leads me to appraisals, right? And also too is I want to talk about appraisals real quick, and then also these offers that you guys are having to deal with. When I'm hearing this in the market, that people, that listing agents are getting 20 offers on a home, right? And how do you guys deal with that? And then also on appraisals, are we seeing a change in the appraisal industry and what's coming in? Because for a while I heard there was not any problem with appraisals. And then I've kind of heard, there has been some issues, not appraising well, but people were just throwing money at it above what the appraisal is anyway.
So it's kind of a mix. I would agree with you. For a while there, appraisals weren't even an issue. We weren't really worried too much about them unless somebody came in really high over list price. Then, like in the heat of the COVID market, which I'm going to say is probably like May, June, I felt like appraisers were just kind of almost doing a drive-by. Like, they would have their time scheduled, but they would be there for maybe 20 minutes. And it was like, oh my gosh, 20 minutes. Can you really appraise the house in that amount of time? And then they would just come in at sales price.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't coming in above or below. They were just at sales price. So then from there, that migrated to the last month, which has been really nuts because part of the problem is so many people are refinancing because interest rates are so low. The appraisers are they're busy.
Yes.
And so getting them out to the house in a timely manner isn't always happening. Even with a rush on it, even with, all these other things in play. And then we're finding, okay, is it going to appraise? Is it going to appraise? And then some of them are, and some of them aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Some buyers, depending upon the situation, are willing to go in and pay the gap. Others are like, no, this is, maybe they're FHA or VA. Their number is what their number is. So we have to educate our sellers that, okay, based upon these offers, you talked about, 20 offers,
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the process when we're presenting the offers to them is, okay, we use a spreadsheet. Okay, here's the offer. Here's the loan type. Here's how much they're putting in. This one is willing to waive the appraisal if it doesn't meet appraised value. This one isn't, yada, yada, yada. And then giving them a net sheet based upon all of those different offers so they can make a decision that's best for them and their family. So the highest offer may not be getting accepted, but the one that waives the appraisal clause may be getting accepted.
Yeah. So how do you feel about this? What we saw that had happened this year with the COVID-19 was a drive-by appraisal, right? And looking at pictures. And can we see this now, the difference in what appraisal values are showing from an in-person, on-the-ground appraisal to a drive-by comparing pictures and that?
Yeah, I think it's there's definitely a difference for sure. I think the problem now with the ones that are going in, and it depends on your appraiser. Some of your appraisers are very much like everything has to be just so. We had an appraiser last week that the day before closing sent us a request to have the toilet caulking around the toilet. And I'm like, everything else is fine, but that was the one thing so we had to go in, provide documentation of that for closing to happen. So I think that's a little unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But can I do anything about it? No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that just depends on, and it's a pool. So it's luck of the draw too.
It's a pool. Yeah. It's really changed a lot when they become that service center type thing, for appraisals on that too. And maybe it's been good to a point, really. I mean, has it kept everything equal? Yeah, possibly. But then when you send somebody out that's never been in that area before, if they know their job well and they know how to research, it doesn't matter where they go. They're still always going to produce a good product, right? But if they're not and they're new to the business, it's not going to probably turn out well for the buyer,
Yeah, and as an agent, I mean, we're not supposed to influence them. So it's kind of a fine line. Like if you leave something behind or you send them something or you show them your comps. I've had one yell at me and he tell me he was going to report me to Trek for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, our job is to do the best service for our clients.
Yeah.
And in some situations that doesn't necessarily equate to the same meaning from an appraisal standpoint with an appraiser.
Yeah. Right.
You have a difference of opinion. Let's put it that way.
Well, speaking of appraisers, let's talk about inspections for just a second. Are you cool with that?
I am cool with that.
Okay. So how do you recommend to people who are purchasing new homes and construction to start using phase inspections from the get-go? And what did you hear from them? Like, oh, I didn't even, because what I hear is like, I didn't even know you did that, right? To what's involved with that and why.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. And here's why. And I love my builder reps. I love working in new construction. Don't get me wrong, but they always use the verbiage, well, we're going to do an inspection for you.
Mm-hmm.
That inspection is being paid for by the builder. So it's not subject. I mean, it's very one-sided. And I think We've seen it before on some of the projects we've worked on over the years together, where they'll do their inspection and everything is, working. And then when we do the inspection, we've got a 20 item punch list for that builder to do.
Yeah.
And then taking it back even further, now that you guys offer this new program, is, getting it done before the foundation is laid, getting it done before sheetrock, pre-closing, and then at the 1 year point. The beauty of that is it takes the onus off of the buyer, and you guys are the ones who are providing the documentation that they can just hand over to the builder before they close on the house, and before that warranty with the builder expires, and then all that stuff is taken care of. So that gives that buyer that warm fuzzy feeling that everything has gotten taken care of. Because if I'm going to walk around my house and just make a list for the builder, it's going to all be cosmetic stuff.
Of course.
It's going to be like, oh, I see a little crack here, or this door is sticking a little bit. Or you're going in and you're really looking at everything, making sure that, the oven is calibrated, making sure the HVAC system is blowing properly.
Right.
So
Walking through the attic and making sure the structure looks right and things are tip-top shape and working and closed, and glue pipes are not, touching the wood in certain ways, and that the air ducts are not pinched off, and and all those kind of things like that, and that there's not gaps in the ceiling, and missing insulation. There's, for most part, all builders are really good. They've really got a good product. It's almost like the automotive business. It's really become a lot better product over the last 20 years than we've seen, obviously in a long time on that. But it's great to have a set of eyes that know what they're looking for, to be able to comb from the foundation to the roof to the interior to all of the electrical, plumbing, and HVAC system and that type of thing, just to make sure. You can always repaint a wall. You can always fix a piece of wood trim and things like that. You can always replace a doorknob or a hinge. The other parts is what's hiding behind it. And I think the other part that a lot of people don't talk about is termites, because termites are underground. They're always waiting to come out and destroy homes. I've read a statistic that over $500 million of devastation is done to homes throughout, the United States because of termites. And so looking at a home and making sure that that inspector does a termite inspection at the time that they were there, and keeping an eye on it, and noticing, has there been, are there conducive conditions around the home, especially in existing homes? Have we found a tunnel coming up from, the flower bed areas? Did we find something in the house, at that point in time? And even on new construction, right? Because we see all these new subdivisions going in. That's me.
I was like, is that me?
No, that's me. Yeah. But, like this new construction is, even though that they're doing pre-treatments on the lots, before they build, all that ground had fire ants and bugs and spiders and termites and everything on it, right? Yeah. I think they say that 1 square acre has over 10,000 spiders on it at one point in time.
You can save that stat. You don't need to tell me that one. That just is going to gross me out.
But, it's the thing is, we need to make sure that we protect our investment. And we believe that doing an inspection, whether it's an existing home or new construction, is one of the best ways to protect your investment right off the bat.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I've had a couple buyers over the years like, oh, but we don't think we're going to do a home inspection. I'm like, whoa. Here's why you need to do one. And then we've been able to at least get them to reconsider. But yeah, I was blown away. I mean, this is your biggest investment. They were afraid that in both these situations that they were not going to get the house if they did an inspection, because they didn't think that the seller would agree on moving forward. And I had to, it's an education process. We had to educate them on that. I'm like, and you may not want the house. Like, you may not want this house if it's got major damages inside of it, or the seller's not willing to repair them. So
well, the report is there to help you as the buyer's agent, and even on the listing side of it too, as to help your buyer or your seller make educated decisions in what they need to do as far as maintenance or repair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and a lot of times people, even though that they maintain their home very well, we've seen it many times where they've maintained it and then they've told us, hey, we've really taken care of this house and it looks nice. But then when you kind of go into the interior of it, you find some things that have happened and they're very surprised about that. But that's what the professional inspector's there for, right? To give their journalistic opinion on the condition of the home and is there anything major that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you and the team. And we love working with you guys. And you know, if there's anything that we can ever do to help you guys, we're here for you 24/7, 7 days a week. Speaking of people talking about, do I really need an inspection or not? If anybody will leave a comment for this video below as we post this to social media, I'm going to send Heather information on the top reasons why you need an inspection. And this really hits home and makes things very clear and upfront why you need to get an inspection, and she'll be happy to share that with you guys. Thank you, Heather, for being on with me today for this spotlight. I think we really touched on a lot of good stuff today. And do you have anything else you want to say? And oh, by the way, tell us the best way to contact you guys and when we can contact you.
So we're on all the social media platforms. Just look up Shimala Group, and Shimala is spelled Shimala. And or you can reach out to me directly. My direct number is 469-712-0185. And we're available. We are not always 24 hours a day. We do sleep in the middle of the night, but we are available other than that. So whatever we can do, though, we would love to help any of your folks.
So like from 10 to 6 in the morning, right?
I think
6, you need that time.
Yeah, I think unless you're one of my emergency contacts, which is only my children or my mom, other than that, yeah, after 10, there's nothing I can do after 10 anyway. Even if your house is burning down, I probably can't help you. So call 911.
You would come. You would come and help if you had to.
I'd bring blankets and water and make sure everybody's safe. But
yeah, right. Well, hey, thanks for being on today. I appreciate you.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it as well. Have a great day.
You too.